Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. Alright, who's the smart aleck that said, when I just get up, I say I just got up and I'm shooting videos. They said you just happen to have makeup on. It was funny. No, I go put makeup on. It takes me 60 seconds. Slap it on, because I used to do videos when I was sweating after CrossFit. And I may still do a few of those because it's getting hot here. And I might go running and just have an idea. And I got some big downloads, so I'm going to give you a lot of stuff. Thank goodness, because we're still going to do 7 days a week of videos so that you have something every morning that you can do, practice, look forward to, and remind yourself. All right, that's what I'm here for. Before I start, don't forget, Landria's Inspiration is free. Once a week you get little tidbits just to keep you in check. I send you different videos that are on here. They're, some of them are pretty short. And also you get notification. If you sign up, you can go into, you can get the details of my e-course called Breakthrough Fear. So what's happening, and we're going to go into the viewer questions today. And we're going to start to go into this. So people are getting stuck, and so they're watching these videos, and then they come back and ask me questions. And I'm thinking, okay, one video's not going to do it for a lot of people. It's going to take a lot of practice. This is why I shoot a video and post it every day, because I know it's tough to stay on track. It really is tough to stay on track because we've got all of this stuff pelting us out there. Well, if you're already in a lower frequency, you're not feeling good about yourself, you still have doubts, you got the stories in the head, then, how do you pull out of that? Because you're in that frequency, and the other frequencies pretty much encourage that. A lot of you talk about going into work, this negativity, I'm getting pulled into it. No, you're not getting pulled into it. When you're on a high frequency, it has no effect on you. So my course, Breakthrough Fear, it has 180 videos. Now, don't let that overwhelm you. That's actually several in like one lesson. I think I have 17 meditations. This is an ongoing course that you can use for, I don't know, I may have it 6 months, possibly to a year if you come in early in the beta stage. We've got a few glitches. And I took $100 off of it. It's very well priced. Why? I want you to have that training. It's not just videos like this. It's what are we doing? How are we thinking? Let's go step by step by step through this and start to strip away all this stuff, because if we're down here and we're like, oh, okay, I'll do a meditation, then sometimes it exacerbates it, right? It amplifies it because you're more aware of those negative thoughts. Breakthrough Fear takes you into these higher layers of saying, why was I thinking that? Or, wow, that's where that's coming from. And you start to shift into a new reality. And by the time we get done, you will be in a new reality. You must be. Because the fact that you start the course in the first place tells me you're ready to get rid of the negativity. And then what happens? We start to manifest amazing things. And at the end, we do a lesson that's called Miracles as a Way of Life. So what if you're not ready to do the course, or for whatever reason you're not going to do the course? And again, you can click here and go in there. You'll get the details of it. It tells you. You can also go to landriaonkka.com and look at that. Now, all right, so I want to talk about that. So I want to talk about not battling the stuff that's going on. Somebody said, how do I get out of that the darkness? It keeps showing up again. It does not keep showing up again. So I want you to switch your thinking when you get in that place, or consider switching your thinking and saying, wait a minute, that's not coming. So that's that feeling helpless and hopeless that this thing is showing up. And that darkness shows up. Why is it showing up? And sometimes it feels like it's independent from you. Like, I was really happy and this thing showed up. All right, so here's a couple things you can do. First of all, this video is gonna be shifting into neutral. All right, we're gonna shift into neutral. And what does that mean? So I have driven, I learned on a stick shift. Learned to drive on a stick shift when I was 16. My dad took me, he was the most patient person. Stall in the car. Finally, somebody put me out in a farm field with some little car and stick shift, said, just go out there until you get it. And believe me, you don't want to be stuck out in a farm field. So, so I know all of the gears so well that I don't even think about it, right? I don't think I can talk to somebody and be shifting. By the way, Europeans, an American who actually knows what to do on a hill, right? You put it in neutral and you put the park brake on, right? Americans don't know how to do that. They're not taught that you know. So what happens is when the light turns, these guys have the brakes on and they don't have their park brake on. They're in a gear and they roll back. And sometimes they hit the car in the back of them if they're too close, right? I know to put it in neutral and put the park brake on. Here's what I want you to do. If you find yourself in a situation having any negative thoughts going into that darker side, we're going to shift into neutral. And you can use this phrase. Here's another practice for you to use. So, you know, I like to give you little things to say that clicks in. One of them's just run. Quit thinking so much. Just run. You want to do the marathon? You have to just start out. Equip yourself and just get out there and run. Just run. Just live your life, right? So this one is shift into neutral. Because, and if you're going back into the dark side, you got to put that park brake on. How do you do that? All right, so when something starts to happen, so what we want to do is we want to go into a positive frame of mind. And sometimes we're in such a low frequency, that is one of the most difficult things to do at the moment. And we get frustrated because we want to feel good. And then we battle this. Oh, I hate feeling like this, you know, and then so it gets worse. You're actually focusing on it. It actually amplifies it. Because what you focus on and what you think about, it comes into your reality. There's no judgment. Remember, here's this power that you are. And I always imagine that it's like intelligently reacting at all moments with me, because it is my power along with yours. It's a shared power. We're one thing. And I just imagine a thought is actually, things are changing. I imagine things just changing. So I want to catch it. And I want to go into neutral. Now, if I can't shift into a higher thought, by the way, I have no problem doing that. But I'm just saying, let's say that you're feeling bad. And it's not even a negative thought against somebody else, because sometimes we don't care about that, right? Let's say that you are just going into the darker space, the lower frequencies, you're not feeling good, you're feeling hopeless, you're in a situation, you don't know how to get out of it. Been there, done that. And I think we all have. It's like, how do I get out of this? And you just can't see the solutions. The solutions are not coming because you're in the lower frequency and you're so entrenched in the darkness that you're not looking at the probabilities. You can say, well, I want the new job and this and that, but you're still coming from the lower frequency. So those things are not presenting themselves because you are still down here suffering. You're battling this negative feeling. When you shift into neutral, that's my coffee maker spewing out at the last minute. When you shift into neutral, you're not trying to battle this, and you're not trying to go into a positive thought. Does this make sense? What you do is you say, I need to shift into neutral. Now you can do this with everything, even if you have a negative thought about somebody. When you shift into neutral, I'll give you an example. Let's say there's some crazy person at work that is just absolutely outrageous, negative, whatever, and you just can't take it anymore. You're in that negative space because your criticism and you're being bothered by them tells me you're not in the awakened high frequency. A high frequency person, that has no effect on them. They sense it, they can feel it, but it has no effect on them at all. They observe it, they go into neutral. So they're not getting sucked down here by that energy, which a lot of you say that, that's what happens. You're already in that space, and that demonstration is showing you that you are still sharing that negative space. You are still going into the lower frequency, right? And that is your reminder, I still have things to work on. So when you're blaming, you go, well, the coworker and the boss, and oh, give me a break. You know I'm not going to go, oh, you poor thing. I'm going to say, hey, we've all had those situations. What did you learn from it? And maybe it's time for you to make a shift. But more than important than that, it is time for you to look at that situation and say, how can I react differently? And if I am being bothered by this, this is my indicator that I am in a low frequency. Whoa, I have some work to do. How can I shift into neutral? I don't have to like that person. So what you do is you look at it, you say, without judgment, because a lot of you are going to go into this, oh, well, they're probably, have a horrible life and this, like, because you're hoping they do. I hope my boss is miserable at home, right? Hold on. So what you want to do is say, okay, I need to shift into neutral. What is neutral? There is a person, man or woman. There's a person who is not treating me well, who's not treating me with respect. That's it. No thought about that. You don't know what's happening. They're obviously an angry, low-frequency person, but you don't need to judge that because you don't know anything about them. When somebody says something to me on here, makes a comment, I'm like, you know absolutely nothing about me. Nothing about me, right? I can share some things. There's so much depth into each of us that no other person could possibly know how you feel and think and what's going on in here. No other person on the planet or beyond could possibly know everything, except for the power of the one, of course. But the bottom line is, when we shift into neutral, what we're doing is we're neutralizing the situation. Because when you want to feel good, I want to find the good in them. I want to be compassionate. So now you're battling these feelings of not feeling good and then wanting to feel good, and you're not feeling good at all. In fact, you're more focused on the negativity because you feel bad about yourself because you're criticizing them and judging. So, you're going into that space because you can't pull out of this just like that all the time. Shift into neutral. I'm going to shift into neutral. Oh, she's really overweight and she's wearing a super short skirt. Then you go, whoa, I'm going to shift into neutral. There's a person wearing a short skirt. That's what awakened beings do. They just see things and they observe it. They have no judgment one way or another about it. It stops being a roller coaster of emotions and high and low frequencies. Their frequency is up here and they do this. So we talked about wealthy people. Wealth isn't a high frequency. The frequency is the individual person. Whether they manifest wealth or not has nothing to do with their frequency. It has to do, high or low frequency, everything's a frequency. It has to do with their ability to manifest what they desire. You can manifest a lot of wealth from a low frequency. And you can also do it from a high frequency. Now the results of that wealth will be different in each. Because I've worked with a lot of people who manifested wealth on a low frequency. And there was a lot of damage done along the way to get the money, to maintain the money, to grow the money. The focus was on the material world, which is a lower frequency, which, right, it's never good. It's never good. These people that have built people out of, millions and millions of dollars with these hedge funds or whatever, they manifested money, but they did it on a lower frequency. And look at the results of that. There will be a cause and effect at all times. So if you do these things, you manifest from a high frequency, you're going to be more focused on not the money, but all the things that can come from that could be positive. And you get to enjoy your life. Yeah, you can go ahead and fly first class. It's okay. I'm willing to bet Eckhart Tolle does. I actually don't know, but He probably has to do that because maybe as a private jet, nah, he wouldn't be able to do that. I'll have to check into that. That'd be sort of fun. No, I don't need to check into that. All right, so we've got more important things to talk about. But the bottom line is that frequencies can manifest anything. You can manifest anything from any level. When you believe, I have it, I know, I can manifest money, then the lower frequencies, man, they're going to go about it in a completely different way. You want to raise your frequency, but what if you can't do that? So let's go into neutral and say, I'm not going to have a thought one way or the other. Boy, you talk about giving your brain a break. Whew. And you know what? So here's the deal. I'm going to do a video after this that's you're going to love because it's how to handle the actual fallout from those negative people or situations. All right? So go into neutral and say to yourself, I don't have to feel good about this. I don't have to go, okay, I'm going to try to be compassionate about it because I know you guys are trying that and some of you just can't do it. A lot of times I realize, well, actually all the time, when I get a negative comment coming over, I'm like, wow, this is a very frustrated, unhappy person. There's so much turmoil going on inside them, and they're striking out at anybody. Striking out at a person who has a spiritual channel trying to help people. Does that tell you something? They're hurting. And so I send them blessings, and sometimes I give them my feedback, and then they attack me again because they didn't really want it. They wanted the help, but they want to be right. So you may be handling that. So what I do is I'm in neutral. I do send them blessings. I do go into a positive space because I know that that's the hurt on this planet that I'm trying to help pull out. We've all been there. We've been just, you know, when you're with somebody and they're telling you, well, you can do this, and you're like, I can't, you don't understand. And you're just like, they're trying to help you. They're trying to tell you it's okay. And you're in such a dark space and frustrated, you can't even hear that positive stuff. You're not ready for it, right? I've been there before. It's like, oh, I can't even hear this. So you avoid the friend. You avoid the friend because you don't want to hear that maybe you have to get off your ass and get a job, or maybe you have to stop complaining, or maybe you have to do something, right? And handle your situation. We're not ready to hear that. So sometimes we have to be allowed to go absolutely rock bottom before we learn our lessons. There are always lessons to be learned out here. It's all experiences. So we're all trying to make everything right, make it right, make it, oh, there are valuable lessons and experiences, and this is the reason we came here, is to experience that and to take it up to the light. That is each individual's choice. So that boss, that could be the very challenge for you to raise your frequency. How do we raise our frequency? We get tested. Otherwise, we'd all be up on a mountain, you know, if we all had food and comforts and we could just meditate all day and not worry about any of the things that are going on out there, we'd all think we were awakened. And we're not. So, you're being tested. Are you awakened? No. Not on the level you think you are. If you're continually battling that negative, because we're on planet Earth, what do you think awakening is? It's the ability to walk around in this and not have it affect you. You experience things, but it doesn't affect you. It doesn't go in. You experience the sadness, the horrors, the atrocities that go on. You experience it. But you're taking your energy to a higher level that can transform that. It gets to decide. So when we all take our energy up, all of these things down there are affected by us. And that person who might want to hit somebody doesn't. They stop. They feel something because they're connected to our energy and they're going. And that's how these massive global meditations can greatly affect crime and all other things. Every Saturday morning, you guys, I'm posting before 9 a.m. There will be a meditation every Saturday morning. It's a meditation that we do global. I stopped calling it global. I notice when I call it global meditation, I have fewer views. Isn't that sad? People don't want to meditate for other people. Like, can I meditate for myself? So I'm renaming them. It's still the global meditation because the meditations are all going to push you out into that energy field to raise it. You're going to be affected, I'm going to be affected, everybody else, and then all these lower frequencies will start to make different decisions, but they have free will and they're independent. When you shift into neutral, you're not making a judgment. You don't know what that person's experience is supposed to be, and you don't know why they're there. It could be for you. For you to get your act together and say, ooh, I guess I need to work on some stuff, right? Yeah. Shift into neutral. He or she is neither good nor bad. He is behaving a certain way. It doesn't have anything to do with you. Well, yeah, it does, because he's criticizing my work. No, if they're nasty, it's because they got some other thing going on. If you're doing your job, even if you're not doing your job, and that person is not communicating with you in a positive manner, there's some turmoil going on in there. But you don't have to judge that and go, oh, he has turmoil going on. Yes. No, you go, okay, that's my test. I got to shift into neutral. Neither good nor bad. What am I going to do with this? Oh, there's there's blah, blah, blah. That you might want to go, ugh. And you shift into neutral. You go, there's blah, blah, blah. So, people talk about politics and that, and I go, and there's nothing to talk about. There's no discussion, right? So, listen, we all get frustrated. We all get pushed. We all get tested. We all love to vent, right? But then you know in your heart that there's something else going on that we don't understand, that there's another person experiencing something that you'll never know. And they're just like you, trying to get to the light. Even if they don't act like it. They're just like you. They came here on a planet that is challenging the heck out of us. It is a tough place to be. And all of us are here together. And if we don't get our act together and start treating each other nice and having those positive thoughts, or at least neutral. So when you're neutral, you're not going down into here. If you don't shift into neutral, you will perpetuate the negativity that is on this planet. And you think you're right, or you think that they're wrong, and everybody else is hurting you or whatever. You're down in that negative space. It doesn't matter what those thoughts are. They're meaningless. Your frequency matters. So you're down in the negative space. Blah, 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 blah. People on the neutral plane are going, there's a ranting and raving person. There's a boss who isn't very pleasant to be around. Blows past you. You don't have to go positive or negative. Can you shift into neutral? Try it. And catch yourself all day. You go, whoa. Because then you stop the judgment, you stop the opinions, even if they're positive ones. You know, that's great, but it's still a judgment. I know, it's tough. I'm not trying to get rid of that. That's a positive high frequency. But that's still separating you and say, if there is this, then there has to be this. All right, give it a try. See if it works for you. It's just another trigger for you to say, I don't have to have a judgment. This is my test. What am I doing with it? I'm going to go into neutral. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.